LTZ Destiny. The story of this Turkish obsessive lover series revolves around a girl Izo. Izo's father was obsessed with her mother, which eventually caused her death. Izo witnesses her mother's death at the hand of her father. She keeps it in her heart. Even after her mother's death, her father treats her badly. One day, Izo burned down the house and killed her father. There is hardly anyone who gets to know about it. The circumstances do not favor Izo, as she is also stuck in a bad marriage. A rich young man who wants to get Izo's property marries her forcefully. He also becomes obsessive with her. This Turkish drama with obsessive love is short and ends abruptly. Kuzgun. Kuzgun is a mafia-style crime drama that tells the story of the Bilgin and Sebeki families. Rifat and Yusuf are police officers and partners whose families are inseparable. Their children Kuzgun and Dila are childhood sweethearts who also grew up together because of the close-knit nature of both families. Unfortunately, Sultan, Dila's mother, is sick with cancer and Rifat is unable to get the necessary drugs. During a sting operation, Yusuf and Rifat uncover a cartel's drug consignment. They offer bribes. Yusuf refuses, but Rifat succumbs to temptation, selling Yusuf out and aiding in setting him up by planting drugs in his home, which the police find and arrest him. The mafia breaks into Yusuf's house looking for the tape of the drug bust that Yusuf hid away and force Meryem, Kuzgun's mother, to make an unimaginable choice to give up one of her children. She chooses Kuzgun, a choice that will haunt her for the next 20 years and beyond. Yusuf eventually dies in prison. 20 years after, Kuzgun returns thirsty for revenge and plots his way into the heart of the mafia crime rings. The past and present collide violently with deadly ramifications for all. Sen Anlat Karadeniz's Lifeline. Nefes was only 16 years old when she was sold to an abusive man Vedat under the name of marriage. Nefes had a tough life and had been locked up in house, tortured for 8 years long. In her 25th attempt, Nefes manages to escape from the living hell with a 7-year-old son. Her escape was a complete coincidence that happened during a visit of a family from the Black Sea region. Their son Tahir, who didn't know Nefes and her son are hiding in his car trunk, discovers that when he arrives to his home country, Trabzon, that is 562 miles away. As a man born and raised in the Black Sea region, Tahir is ready to give his life for any person treated unjustly. Tahir sacrifices himself to save Nefes and her son. While doing so, he faces many challenges, including exposing himself and his family to the threat of Nefes' now ex-husband, who was also known as her abuser, Vedit, as well as the rejection of his family and his country to Nefes, as protecting a married woman is considered against traditions. Meryem, Tales of Innocence. Meryem, a woman who takes the blame she didn't commit for the man she loves. A prosecutor Oktay, who can do anything for career and power. War, who is daunted with revenge after losing the women she loved. An accident on a rainy night changes the lives of these three people. Oktay, man of justice, man of power, war in need of justice, proceeds on this path. Meryem bears the burden of the sins of both men until love is included in the equation and brings justice. Harkai. Miran Aslan Bey, the only heir to the Aslan Bey family, who came to Mardin Midyat as a businessman from Istanbul, will offer Nasu Sadoglu more than a partnership and wants his great-grandson Riyan as his wife. However, Midyat's most powerful head of family, Nasu, has different plans for Miran, who he calls a very good fortune, unaware of anything. He will give her granddaughter Riyan, but not the grandson he wants. Nasu is unaware of Miran's plans as he tries to convince Miran of his plan. While the agreement between the two men is eagerly expected by both families, the news will profoundly affect the lives of two young girls, Riyan and Yaren. From the first part of Harkai, he will witness a great test with love at first sight. Yargi, The Judgment. Lawyer Selin and prosecutor Ilgaz, in their fight to ensure justice, they have the same passion. However, while struggling on this path, two legal people whose methods are at opposite poles, the more rule-bound, honest and strict Ilgaz is, Selin is just as borderless, unregulated and rebellious. That's why every time their paths crossed, they clashed, tested each other and stayed on opposite sides until life crossed their path again. Ilgaz, brought to him as murder case, he is caught unprepared for the shocking blow inflicted on his family by the corpse of a woman found in a garbage container. His brother Sinar is seen as the main suspect in this case. Ilgaz needs a good lawyer to save his brother, so he comes to the brink of a tough decision. All the features of Selin that he never approves are like the key to the iron bars that will be closed on his brother. Selin and Ilgaz at this turning point, which they never expected to meet, while questioning the truth that they thought indispensable until today. They will also find themselves floundering in a sea of secrets that they do not know how to swim. Tuzak, Trap. Tuzak tells a revenge story of three brothers, Umut, Mahir and Umer, who had their childhood taken away from them. In a world where it is hard to tell who is good and who is bad, what is real and what is fake, these three brothers, united by a common goal, will discover that they are not as connected as they thought. On the other hand, siblings Gunesh, Bhuvan and Mete, who believe they love their father's approval and a comfortable life more than other, bond against a common enemy. In Tuzak, as Umut takes revenge against the family he hates, his biggest conflict is Gunesh, who he realizes is the love of his life as he gets to know her. Meanwhile, Gunesh, who knows Umut as a dirty lawyer named Sinar Yilmaz, unaware of his actual goal, will leave the fate of her family and herself in the hands of this man with whom she falls in love. Yurek Sikmazi, The Dead Heart. The series tells a dramatic story of a man with a personality disorder and a woman trying to embrace life with her children. Seneth, who was exposed to domestic violence for years by her husband Yilmaz, gets sick and is hospitalized. While she is being treated, she sees a lawyer Zainab's number on the window of hospital and calls her for help. She gives her a letter to be opened after she dies. This letter will not only bring Zainab and Halil, the eldest son of Senat, together, but also will cause conflict between the siblings. The series is all about the struggle of all women who are victims of domestic violence all around the world and also offers romance through the love story between Zainab and Halil.